In the past, it was a staple of kidnappings for the hostage to hold up a newspaper to prove that they're still alive. The problem with me is that I started reading the newspapers that I was holding up, although I'm still, as you can judge by our social media overlords, in captivity. Nevertheless, I'll try my best to get what news I can out to you given the constraints. First up, stories on the domestic news front that I'm tracking. Your briefing begins with the headline: Independent Senator Kyrsten Sinema will not run for re-election in Arizona. Independent Kyrsten Sinema announced Tuesday that she will not run for re-election this year, leaving the Senate after one term that saw her paint Arizona blue, leave the Democratic Party, and play a key role in numerous legislative negotiations in a tightly divided Senate. Because I choose civility, understanding, listening, working together to get stuff done, I will leave the Senate at the end of this year, Sinema said in a video posted on her X account. Sinema's decision paves the way for a tough and expensive fight for her seat, though it will be more straightforward than the messy three-way contest she would have prompted by staying in. The leading Republican, 2022 gubernatorial candidate Kari Lake, and the leading Democrat, Representative Ruben Gallego, are already running hard to replace Sinema. This comes just a week after Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell announced his resignation, so big changes are afoot in the Senate. 2024 is shaping up to be an incredibly volatile year. And now, on to international news. A newly enlarged NATO starts a drill in Finland, and Norway and Sweden stand in defense of their Nordic turf. Helsinki. NATO kicked off an exercise on Monday to defend its newly expanded Nordic territory, when more than 20,000 soldiers from 13 nations take part in drills lasting nearly 2 weeks in the northern regions of Finland, Norway, and Sweden. With over 4,000 Finnish soldiers taking part, the Norway-led Nordic Response 2024 represents the NATO newcomers' largest ever participation in a foreign exercise, according to Finland's military. For the first time, Finland will participate as a NATO member nation in exercising collective defense of the alliance's regions, the Finnish Defense Forces said in a statement. The Swedish Armed Forces said about 4,500 personnel from its Air Force, Army, and Navy would take part in the drill, which is being conducted in demanding Arctic winter conditions. Finland, which shares a 1,340-kilometer or 830-mile border with Russia, joined NATO in April 2023 in a historic move following decades of military non-alignment. With its bid now ratified by all NATO members, neighboring Sweden is currently finalizing formalities to enter the military alliance as its 32nd member, most likely in March. That last aside about Sweden joining NATO, possibly in March, is an interesting one, because it implies that Sweden is being coerced to give up its centuries-old policy of neutrality. You have to remember as well that this is kind of shaping up to be a dangerous situation that may lead to a hot war. You have Norway, who's already kind of, like participating in NATO. One of the heads of state of Norway is now leading NATO. And according to investigative journalist Seymour Hersh, Norway may have been a participant, if not the leading participant, in blowing up the Nord Stream pipeline that was giving cheap energy from Russia into Germany. And this is not a good circumstance, watching all of these formerly neutral nations kind of now aligning, and we're seeing kind of the outlines of a possible hot war. Also in the news today was an announcement that Victoria Nuland, who's the Deputy Secretary of State under Anthony Blinken, is stepping down, and the Russians are saying that this was happening because she was being kind of cashiered and run out of office because she had failed in the Ukraine. Who knows if that's true or not, but that's the line that they're taking. A lot of people think that it's weird that the architect of all this chaos is now quietly slipping back into the shadows, but that weirdness leads us into our News of the Weird segment. Meet the newly appointed UN Women's Delegate from the UK, tasked with representing women on the UN Commission on the Status of Women.
There once was a girl at the age of 3, told her mum, "This is how I want to be." Her mum said, "No, you're a boy, you know it's how it's meant to be. Soon may transition come to bring me blockers and hormones, mum. Why won't you listen to me? I want to be happy." The girl grew up and her voice grew deep. Her mum saw her unhappiness creep. Her mum said, I know you're a girl, I'll support you all the way. Soon may transition come to bring me blockers and hormones, mum. At last I am the real me, and now I am happy. And now I am happy.
Sorry about that. I just needed to cleanse myself. And what better way to do so than with the Charlie Brown origin story? Poor Charles Schulz, the creator of Charlie Brown. He's passed on. And we're passing on to our obituary segment. Julie Lynn Charlot, the inventor of the poodle skirt, has died at 101 years old. Charlot invented the poodle skirt in 1947. As World War II came to a close, Charlot met and married film editor Philip Charlot. She gave up performing to be a post-war wife. In 1947, two seemingly unrelated events came together to start a career in fashion. First, fashion changed dramatically with the New York look. World War II fabric restrictions were lifted and hemlines dropped and skirts got full. About the same time, her husband lost his job. In 1947, at the age of 25, Charlot was invited to a holiday party in Los Angeles and wanted to create a dress especially for the event. Not having money at the time, Charlot decided to make her own skirt for the Christmas party. Charlot stated in the United Press International article on February 25, 1953 that, quote, if I had known how to sew or had the money to purchase better materials, I would have never made the circle skirt, end quote. Fortunately, Charlot's mother owned a factory which used felt, and thus she had a free supply of that material. She stated that, I cut the circle out of felt, which allowed me to cut a complete circle skirt without having any seams. I added some whimsical Christmas motif appliques, and the result was so attractive that she received many compliments at the party. After the party, she was still broke and made 2 more skirts, which she took to a local boutique. They put them out on the floor and they sold immediately. The owner put in another order and boom, her business was born. She's a great example of industry and entrepreneurialism. She'll be sorely missed, but her example lives on, so we're grateful. Just as I'm grateful to you for watching the show, or as I like to call it, that suspicious gap in my resume. See you next time. Consider subscribing to my new podcast, Classic Paranormal. It's a clearinghouse for lost real-life accounts of true ghost stories. It's found on Apple Podcasts. Go there now if you're interested in enigmatic tales, chilling true accounts, chronicles from cases of the past that time has forgotten, but that the modern person who likes relaxing by a campfire swapping ghost stories might appreciate. As I said, the new podcast I'm launching is available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, and there's a link in the description below on this video.